I think if you are meeting other people from other places, you see that there's a lot going on at the surface. There's also a lot of misunderstanding, conflicts, frustrations, and so on. But you don't know what's underneath it. You don't know where it comes from. Especially when when you are experiencing a culture shock, many things happen to you that are related to this type of encounter. Um, And the interesting thing for me is not so much the psychological point of view, which is for psychologists, but what happens with your knowledge background. What you know. And a lot of what you know is very self-evident because you have raised in a particular culture and that's very self-evident for you. But when you are confronted with people who come from different self-evident backgrounds, then this becomes problematized. And that's exactly what's interesting, because then this evidence, this self-evidence becomes a problem. And you're starting to ask, why do you think like that? And why do you think like that? Oh, well, I think that it's like this. That type of discussions should be systemized and structured so that you can do something with it. That's the basic intention of what I try to do. So I try to develop methods, like qualitative methods, like storytelling, but interviews, also photographs. Film would be a very good tool. So that's what I try to do. I try to develop methods to get this to the surface, and the next step is then what can you do with it? So what if you have that information? How can you put it on the agenda of important discussions? For example, important professional discussions. That's when students were in Bali, they saw a lot of garbage on the beaches. And the question is, what does that mean? Many students jump to the conclusion when they come from the West and say, oh, they don't know enough. The locals don't know enough yet about ecology, about how to deal with your environment. Look how much garbage they put on the beaches. Instead of jumping to that conclusion, it would be better to ask yourself why. Why do people put that garbage on the fields? And that's exactly what I'm trying to say. If you ask the question why, then you're going to look for interpretations from the local people themselves. And you don't fill it in yourselves, but you ask them, why do you put that garbage on the beach? And when you go on and you ask them to tell stories about it, how they do that, and so on. And when you do that, you find out, for example, that in Bali Hinduism, the good gods are on the Gunung Agung, which is the highest mountain on Bali. They live there in their religion. And the beautiful sceneries, the romantic sceneries, are associated with mountain sceneries. The orientation toward the sea, there's the bad spirits. So there you put the garbage, there you put the toilet, and so on. So beaches are not very particular interesting for Balinese people. They don't have romantic associations with it, as we Westerners do. So if you know that, then you understand why there is garbage on the beach. And if you want to develop successful green hotels on Bali, it's a good thing to imply this type of interpretation of the Balinese themselves about their relation between man and nature, because that's what it is. So there you see how you can use this type of information that is originally for global experts hidden in the context. Well, to start with, being a student is a very, very, very interesting situation, I think, especially from the perspective that you are more open to new information, new types of insights, and so on, than ever, I think, later. When you grow old, as I do, you become one-sided. So that's the problem with growing old. Whereas at that age, people are really open to many things. And if you put that in an international context, in this rich international, where there are so many layers of significance and layers of meaning, where people are meeting and encountering each other, and there you have a program, then it's such a challenge to make that as optimal as possible by using, also in an international community, by using the hidden information and meaning in the once again. So where I'm interested in what's hidden underneath the surface, and to use that in your teaching, and it's a challenge and it's fantastic. It's an adventure, absolutely.